Shut up and sit down.
Videos back to back is hard, and so sometimes you gotta record multiple videos in one. YouTube, it's Piper, or the Pied Piper, or whatever you want to call me, except for out of my name. Anyway, my roots are done, so finally all of this hair is red now, but I'm trying to make videos a little bit faster, so I'm trying to make them not so long. So I'm hoping that if I don't go so verbose, then maybe I can get out some videos that are like 15 minutes long. 10 minutes long, and not these grand editing events that I have, because the last videos were hard to get out because they were like editing 3 different videos all at the same time. It was nuts. Anyway, this topic that I'm talking about today, or tonight, and sorry if I look busted, it has been a long day, and this is not the first video that I filmed, and I'm trying to look casual, but I'm really annoyed with these gummy bears. So being casual is hard when you only have red and green gummy bears. In hindsight, I should have noticed that it's Christmas time and they were gonna rep red and green. But why not the white ones? Why? Just why? Anger eating. Anyway, this video, by the title, obviously, you know that Jay-Z song, like, he says the N-word, but since I don't say that word, it's more of a play on words to be like, TRIGGA, what's my mother name? TRIGGA. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm not a rapper. At least, I mean, I can rap, but like, that wasn't my best work. Anyway, this is about triggers, basically. I am not a social justice warrior. That sounded very mush mouth, because I have this yucky gummy bear in my mouth, and you know how much I love gummy bears. Why? Only red and green. Anyway, I'll get over it. And I'm gonna take a drink because I can, and you're not here, and you can't stop me. Anyway, this video is about people and triggers, and I put a trigger warning at the beginning of the video, not because I was gonna trigger anybody. I don't think I'm gonna say anything triggering. Did you ever hear that song in Winnie the Pooh, when Tigger would sing the song and you'd say the wonderful thing about Tiggers and all that? And I'm sure that's copywritten, so I'm not gonna like sing it. But every time I think of triggers, I always think that song for some reason. So it's always like, the wonderful thing about triggers is everybody's got one. And that's what it is nowadays. Everybody has a trigger. Everybody is triggered by everything and for everyone. Like, there will be something that a whole nother ethnic group will think is racist for another race. And like, the race that they're offended for is like, it's all good, I don't understand. But that other people are repping hard and are triggered significantly, not for themselves, but for other people. And I think that's super weird. Like, I don't understand this trigger society. And I feel like, you know, I'm of a certain age, and obviously I'm not that old, but you know, like, I'm in the 3s. Anyway, you know, back in the day when your grandparents were first learning how to email pictures and stuff, and so you'd get like 12 blank emails and they'd be like, I emailed you that picture, and you're like, it's not attached, and they're like, yeah, it is, I did everything. And then they get so upset and they shake their fist in anger and they're like, flinging technology, what's a chat room? You know, like, they didn't even understand how dial-up worked. And now we're so far past like dial-up and AOL, but they would be like talking about, in my day we didn't have dial-up, we dialed up people by going to their house. You know, like they had all these great stories, and you'd think like, oh my gosh, they're so old or get with the times. I now feel so bad for ever thinking that about someone, because I am that person who's like, well, in my day, you told people happy birthday face to face or sent them a card. You didn't put it on Facebook and hope they saw it. You didn't retweet a tweet. You didn't go to comedians for all of your news, stuff like that. And this is kind of what this video is about. And it's going to be really quick. It's something that has like irked my pickle. I watch Just Kidding News, and I'm going to rep them every chance I get. Because they're amazing. But I love Just Kidding News. I don't watch it because they're gonna get everything right. They have all the facts, or because they're politically correct. I watch it when I want completely not politically correct opinions and statements, and I want to laugh, and I want to take my news with a grain of salt. And if I want real news, they are not the people I'm going to help me find out anything. But I think that nowadays there are so many different avenues for people to get news from. You have a plethora of online sources. You still have newspapers. You still have newspapers online. You have podcasts. You have literally, there are so many mediums for news that I think, I mean, and when I say news, I mean entertainment news, political news, sports news, literally just and we still even have television where we have newscasters, and now newscasters use Twitter and Facebook, and they Facebook stories, and even the police department has a Facebook and they Facebook stuff, you know, like everybody, there are so many sources for information that I think part of this whole ultra sensitive mentality nowadays is because what used to be stuff you could only get from certain places, you now can get everywhere. And so people are looking to people that they really shouldn't for political correctness and for their moral compass and for help them calibrate their own moral compass. They look to these mediums, even if that is a celebrity's Instagram or a celebrity's Twitter. You know, they look for, they take news like you can get it everywhere and everybody's credible. And I think that's what's got people really triggered, is because they're discovering like, oh snaps, not everybody is credible, are they? You know, and not to beat a dead horse, but this whole Kevin Hart, you know, with the Oscars thing, and not to say like I'm not a social justice warrior, like I've said, social justice warrior. Let me enunciate. But I'm not one of them. I actually consider myself a pretty sensitive individual. I'm very empathetic, or empathic. I'm very in tune with my emotions. You know, I can be a little abrasive, I think, because I am quite intelligent, and people who sometimes have higher intelligence, sometimes, and I'm not like tooting my own horn, but beep beep, I'm intelligent. And people sometimes who are more intelligent tend to not always come off as sensitive. Because they can be very rational, and rational doesn't always mean sensitive. But I think I have learned to really balance that out. Being a mom definitely started helping that. And also writing helps me with that, because I have to tune, you know, get other people's emotions, and I have to portray those emotions in a realistic way. So I have learned to do that. And I'm a people watcher. But as sensitive as I think I am not nearly as sensitive as the world has become. The world is soft. What do I like to say? The world is bitch made now. And I know that's going to offend some people, so trigger alert, trigger warning. I just said bitch made, sorry, trigger warning. And I'm not saying that everybody is. There are obviously people who are not. But like Kevin Hart, he said some very insensitive things in the past. But let's be honest, it's Kevin Hart. When is the last time you went to Kevin Hart for all your political correctness? He's a comedian. He is paid to say the things we think and don't say. He is paid to give observations on things that are sometimes outlandish or exaggerated. That is a comedian's job. If you're going to people like Kevin Hart, Daniel Tosh, Gary Owen, any other, and those are just some comedians that I like, Steve Harvey even, You know, there was that big thing about Steve Harvey and when he said that really insensitive thing about Asian men and them not being attractive, which is BS. I think Asian men are very attractive. I mean, I don't like love every single one of them, but there are some very attractive Asian men. I have dated some Asian men. Like, they are very attractive. So I don't agree with that statement. But again, I don't go to comedians for my political correctness. I don't go to them when I need to calibrate my moral compass. Like, they are not the people I go to. And if you think that's what comedy is for, if that's what you think celebrities are for, you're not doing it right. Like, you are not enjoying those things for what they're supposed to be. They live in a world where they're not supposed to be that. When you go to a comedy show, the enjoyment you get isn't because they're saying everything politically correct and they're being this, they're giving their own opinion, and they're so, sometimes they give an opinion that crosses boundaries. You know, it tests limits, but it's sometimes it's the stuff you think, and before it gets through that filter in your mind, they are lucky enough to have a profession and have the ability to say those things in a way that's humorous, where we know that they're not all the time that way. You know, just because they say it doesn't mean that that's how they are. They're just saying the stuff that we think and don't say. You know, I know that every human being on this planet, like, I'll backtrack. I consider myself someone who does not prejudge people. But what I mean when I say I don't prejudge people is I give people a chance to prove my prejudgments wrong. I might look at somebody and think something about them, but I'll still give them a chance to prove me wrong. And I'm big enough and self-aware enough that if I was wrong about somebody, I'll tell them. I'll be like, dude, when I first met you, I thought you were a douche, but turns out you're amazing. You know, like, I will say those things because I am not the sultans of all that's right and true. I can be wrong. And I feel like that is the beauty part of being human. And that's one of those human experiences, to admit when you're wrong, admit a failure, admit when you're lacking, and move past it. You know, just accept people. And so when I say that I don't prejudge, it just means that I don't stick to those prejudgments. And writers, like writers for television and producers, directors, movie directors and things, and celebrities in general, are not the people you should be looking to for concrete, accurate, politically correct news. They're not. I mean, what comedian? I mean, back in the day, Eddie Murphy did that. You know, Eddie Murphy Raw. People loved that. I mean, people quote that now as being like one of their favorite comedy stand-up or stand-up show. Sorry, I probably said that backwards, but people love it. Was he politically correct? No. And he probably said a lot of things that in this soft day and age, people would have been like, oh, I can't believe he said that. He's disrespecting women. And all these other people, like, they would have had a laundry list of issues. But you don't have to be triggered for other people, first of all. Triggers are not everybody's thing. Like, I am not easily triggered. I personally like people who are just real with me and we can have a real discussion. Are they overtly vicious and cruel for no reason? No, they're like decent people, but they're open and honest. I'm a person that hates small talk. I hate asking people, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite movie? Really? Oh, I like that movie too. My favorite movie is Fight Club. I hate small talk. Is it a necessary evil? Absolutely. But is it something I enjoy? No. I like people who have authentic conversations. I like people who just get down to the nitty gritty. I've always had closer relationships with men than I do women, and the women that I have had friendships with have been very similar to me. They've been very straightforward and direct. They have been kind of like, you know, haven't been the most sensitive people on the planet, and it's because we get each other. That doesn't mean that I'm this amazing like woman, or that the people that I like are these amazing people, but I'm just saying that's my personality. But like, I'll see people in videos on YouTube. They go to a person's YouTube channel, a person that they don't even regularly watch. They will get triggered and write something about it. And then they will get so upset about it that they will tell their other friends, and their other friends will be just as triggered. And they're like, really? That happened? I'm gonna go watch. Why would you do that? Why are you such a glutton for punishment that you want to be triggered so bad that you are going to go search out content that you know is going to trigger you so that you can be triggered and outraged and you can give your 10 cents or 2 cents, I guess is what the phrase is. But I always say 10 because, like, I'm sorry, 2 cents a lot. But what I'm saying is, like, we used to live in a day and age where that just wasn't like that. You know, I'm not going to say the words because yes, I know they're insensitive now, but like when I was younger, there were words that we said that they weren't hateful. They didn't mean, at least to me anyway, they didn't mean what they, I guess, mean now. And that's what's making me understand like people from other generations who like down on my generation because I'm in that weird generation X or generation, what is it? What generation are we now? Um, what is it, Z or something? I don't know. But like I'm in that weird sort of in between where I think I could be either generation. And I used to get so upset when like older people would like say anything. I'd be like, shut up, grandpa, you don't know my life. But now I get it. I get why they would say it because I feel that same way now too. Because I'm like, oh, great, I can't say this word now. Why? Like it's perfect. It expresses my mood right now. Why can't I say it? And I get that now. I get how that feels when the world changes so drastically. And especially for me, and I'm not saying this is for everyone, but I am not a soft individual. And but I'm also not a hardened thug either, you know, far from it. I'm more like the valley girl who like breaks a heel. But anyway, like I am just kind of real based. I like Just Kidding News because I know they are not going to give me PC talk. They're not going to say things that are PC, but they're also not going to be cruel. You know, I know that what they're doing is not to be intentionally cruel. The meaning behind their words is not to um, you know, degrade anybody or to demean anybody. Like they are just having some fun. And I feel like we have forgotten what fun is in this day and age. Like we just forgot. Like everybody just forgot. And now everything is ultra serious. You know, and like I'm gonna give you an example of some comedians I like. I wrote it down because I'm that kind of nerd. See, and now nerd could probably trigger some people, and I'm sorry, but I'm a nerd too. Like, can't I say it? Anyway, Daniel Tosh, one of my favorite comedians. Ray Lapowski, another one of my favorite comedians. Cat Williams. I do like Kevin Hart. I know a lot of people don't like him. I've heard a lot of people say they don't think he's funny. I think he's hilarious. Now, does every joke land? No, but he's funny. Um, Dave Chappelle, of course. Dave Chappelle is like one of my original funny dudes because I remember watching Men in Tights and he's like, hey, Blinken. He's like, what'd you say? Hey, Blinken? I said, no, hey, Blinken. Anyway, anyway, I love Men in Tights. I love Dave Chappelle. Um, then there is Kevin James. I really like him. He's the guy from King of Queens. Trevor Noah, I really enjoy. I think he's hilarious. And he's obviously not one of those non-PC dudes. He's super intelligent though. Like I want to like lick his brain. He's so smart. Like I love him. I think he's amazing. Um, Adam Sandler, who I haven't ever seen do stand up, but I know he's not the king of PC. Um, then there's Gary Owen, who I mentioned already, who is hilarious to me. Some more. I think she one of the Queen's Comedy. She might have been. I do like Monique too. At least I did. I haven't seen her do a lot, but I did love her. Um, what is it? John Mulaney. Um, I like that. What is her name? What is it? Eliza. I think she's funny. Ron White, hilarious. Bill Burr, Aziz Ansari, Theo Vaughn, who has also been on Just Kidding News before, and I was like, so there. Actually, seeing him on Just Kidding News made me go search out his stand-up comedy because I was like, this dude is funny. Like, I gotta see him do more stuff. I would love to see David So do some stand-up because I think he's hilarious. Ali Wong, who I really enjoy, and she is far from PC. I mean, she does her stand-up barefoot. Like, she's awesome. Ellen DeGeneres, shockingly, I really enjoy. And of course, Chelsea Handler. Now, those are only a few people, but as you will see, they are all very not PC people. But I don't think that they think the way like they are saying all those thoughts that we as a society can't say and act on. They're just they're giving observations, they're pushing limits and boundaries, but they by no means are the people I go to when I'm looking for my news. Like when I am looking for some serious topics and I want to get into some political things, or I want to learn more about, the state of, something that's going on in another country, or, civil rights things, I'm not going to Steve Harvey or Kevin Hart for that kind of stuff. And if you are, I don't think you understand what they're for. Like you're not supposed to do that. And I'm not going through somebody's Twitter from 10 years ago, 7 years ago. I'm like, those types of things are for thoughts that come to your head that maybe are not the most intelligent or well thought out, but they're there. And no, you shouldn't be forced to apologize for every single thing that's come out of your mouth. If that was the case, think about how many of us would be apologizing every day of our lives. Like seriously, we'd be like walking around with just like a plaque hanging around our neck that just says, "I'm sorry." And it's like a neon flashing light. It's like, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." And you'd have to do it to everyone because you're bound to offend someone. But people should be intelligent and investigative thinkers. They should know that you obviously don't mean that or don't feel that way. And yes, people can say things like, "Well, what if somebody called you a racial slur?" Okay, well, that's different. You use those types of words because it's hate speech. But not everything is hate speech. And what we have done is we have tripped into a world where everything is hate speech. You literally have to preface everything you say with a little disclaimer. I mean, no offense to homosexual, straight women, or trans women, trans men. It's like you shouldn't have to do that. Like people know if you're a douche or not. Like people know if you're a jerky human being and that you get off on hurting other people. And if your heart's in the right place, I can see that. And not everybody is that, in tune or maybe even aware, but I think enough people are that we don't need to dumb down society as much as we have, because we literally are like hand feeding society now. Like, "Oh, you want this? It's peace." Like we don't need to do that. Like it's just weird when we do it now. So this is a really quick video just on triggers, and that we need to, as a society, do like a hashtag no trigger January, or free speech January, say what's on your mind. Like I did this thing with all of my friends once where I said no autocorrect or no correcting autocorrect for a whole day. And so I made all my friends just let whatever the autocorrect changed their words to, they had to send it to everybody. So some of these texts were ridiculous. But it's like, we all know that you're not this horrible human being. Like you're not out there doing crazy atrocities to people. So I highly doubt that that's what you meant. So maybe we could do that. Again, like, subscribe, comment, Morse code, smoke signal, Telegram, share this, press the bell thing, get notified, and keep the conversation going in the comments. Let me know some things or some triggers that bother you, or some things that, really annoy you that people get triggered over, or some things that just happen in society now that you're like, hey, this is an issue, let's talk about it. I want to hear your thoughts. Give me suggestions on what type of shows you think I should do, or what type of videos I should put up, because I'm trying my hardest to get this channel going continually. So, like I said, like, subscribe, comment, follow me on Instagram. I don't do Twitter all the time, but I have a Twitter, but I don't know how to tweet. So I randomly will put something up there, but not enough for you to care. And I'll probably do a video though about some of my favorite literature, because I'm a writer and I read a lot. So I'm probably gonna do something like that. But I'm gonna go binge watch the rest of season 3 of Travelers. So I gotta go. Be classy in those comments. Keep it classy. Intellectual comments, intelligent debates, those are great. But if you get vicious and rude and cruel and you're just a negative Nancy or douche, I'm deleting and blocking you. And that's because it's my channel. I do what I want. If you don't like that, make your own channel, do what you want. So I will see you later, and have a great rest of your day or night or whenever you watch this.
Have you ever felt? Are you listening?